What if the voice you've been silencing is the very sound of your wholeness? Tonight, we're listening for it. Welcome to Maiden Mother Crone Tarot, where we hold sacred space for divine divergence, also known as ADHD. My name is Kayla, and I'm so thankful you're here today. Today is day 20 of the 0303 series, where I show up for 30 days, bringing messages of joy, guidance, and support for women with ADHD. Today's tarot topic is tarot for accepting every part of you, ADHD and all. And our mantra for this reading is this is what it sounds like. We'll dive into that more in just a bit. Before we begin, I'd like to do a quick breathing exercise. And in this breathing exercise, I want us to approach it a little bit differently than we have in the past. I would like us to imagine ourselves drawing in all the parts of us that we're ashamed of, all the parts of us that are challenging, all the parts of us that we've hidden, all the parts of us that we've lied about, our messiness, our forgetfulness, our overwhelm, our brain fog, all of the things that try to stay hidden in the dark. I want to imagine you drawing a circle around yourself during this breathing exercise and bringing them in with your energy so they're inside the circle so we can work with them tonight. Are you ready? We'll do 3 rounds of breathing. Breathing in for 6, holding for 2, and out for 8. Remember, while we're breathing, draw in all of the parts of you that you're ashamed of. Let's begin. Well done. Way to bring in the pieces of you that have been challenging, that have been something you might have been ashamed of, that have been not your best moments. Before we really get into this message, I want to give you some background on where it came from and where our mantra came from as well. Tonight, I had imposter syndrome. I was flooded with negative thoughts. I was flooded with the idea that the channel would never reach the people it was meant for, that no one actually cared what I was talking about, that no one would take me seriously, that there aren't any women with ADHD that actually want to change, that I just look silly and I'm not going to make a difference. It was really deep, y'all. And as the thoughts kept rolling in, I couldn't stop them. They just kept coming. So I let them come. I didn't fight it. I let them come. Because I knew, I've told you guys, I'm showing up for Kayla from now on. I'm showing up for her. And the series, committing to the series, is showing up for Kayla. So I knew, even with these thoughts, I was going live tonight. Now, I have a content schedule because if we can plan things out with ADHD, it makes it a lot easier, right? We don't have to really cycle through our brain and put that load on it to try to figure out what you're going to do, right? If you have it planned out, you can just kind of have a guide. But that being said, I'm learning to honor my energy cycles. I'm learning to honor the energy of the collective. And I'm learning to honor my emotions. And tonight was tough. I felt like any of the topics on my spreadsheet, any of the potential readings that I had, just weren't going to cut it. And I almost went into crying. That's how upset I got about it. So I really started praying and asking Spirit and asking my guides, what should I talk about tonight? What should the reading be about? I don't want to just show up and talk, like have a sit down, a chat. I mean, we can do that, but I want this channel to be about you. I want it to be about bringing messages to you. And while I'm going to share my life and share what I'm going through, I only want to do that if it's going to help you in some way. So while I was, thinking about what we were going to talk about, what our topic was going to be, I started paying attention to my daughter and my niece. And they are best friends, and they call each other sisters, so they're very close. And they had been running around my bedroom. I was on my bed trying to figure out what we were going to do tonight. And I just stopped for a while and just started watching them because they had been singing for a while. And they just kept saying, "This is what it sounds like." Now, if any of you have children, you probably know where this is from. If you don't, I'm about to enlighten you. There is a new movie on Netflix, and it's taking the world by storm. It's called Kpop Demon Hunter. Now, when my kids told me they wanted to watch it, I was like, what in the world is this, right? And a lot of times my girls will have a hard time falling asleep. And so they ask me to lay with them, and I'll say, I'll lay with you for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. It always ends up being 30, but who's counting? And they wanted to watch that. It was a weekend, so we were going to watch the movie. We put it on, and this kids show has me emotionally invested and sucked in for the entire night. I didn't leave the room. I watched the entire movie. And what really hit me, what really resonated so strongly for me with this movie is the beautiful similarities between spirituality, between healing work and integration, and the core themes and messages of the movie. Now, our mantra for tonight, "This is what it sounds like," comes from, it's one of the songs from the movie. And the first time I heard it, when I watched the movie, I cried, y'all. I ugly cried. And I'm okay with saying that because, we have to be vulnerable for us to be able to, one, create connection with everybody else. Two, be able to establish positive change in the world, right? Because if I can show vulnerability and step into the courage that it takes to do that, so can you. And it's a ripple effect. I want to go through a few of the lyrics just so you guys can kind of understand where I'm coming from. And I'm going to go ahead and apologize. I am emotional tonight, so some of these lyrics might trigger me and I might start crying. And honestly, I'm not going to apologize. I'm just giving you the warning that it might happen. So this is towards the beginning of the song, and it says, "The worst of what I came from, patterns I'm ashamed of, things that even I don't understand." Is that landing for you guys the way it landed for me? The shame, the terrible things that we tried to hide, the patterns, the loops that we get stuck in where we're constantly blaming ourselves, constantly criticizing ourselves, constantly not believing in ourselves, losing control of our emotions. And then there's those instances like tonight where I started spiraling and I didn't even understand where it came from. I didn't know why I was spiraling. I just knew I was. I didn't understand it, right? A little bit further down in the song, it goes into this. "I broke into a million pieces and I can't go back. But now I'm seeing all the beauty in the broken glass." Guys, I'm getting cold chills while I'm just saying these lyrics. How many times have we had to pick ourselves up from the shattered parts of our lives and rebuild and piece a new adapted version of ourselves, right? Because with ADHD, that's another one of our super skills is adaptability, is the ability to change swiftly. But really, what we're being called to do here, for me, healing is integration. Integration is what healing is. And integration is not, putting the things that we don't like away. It's not just acknowledging them. It's letting them have a place of honor where we can say, hey, yes, I see you and you are in my life. And I thank you for the lessons that you taught me. You were a valuable teacher. That's the beauty in the broken glass. Another great line. The scars are part of me. Told you, darkness and harmony. Darkness and harmony are part of me. My voice without the lies. This is what it sounds like. Let me know if this is resonating for you, like it resonates for me. Then goes on. Why did I cover up the colors stuck inside my head? I should have let the jagged edges meet the light instead. Show me what's underneath. I'll find your harmony. I'll find your integration. Every time this song takes me on a roller coaster. So for me, this I should have let the jagged edges meet the light instead. It's talking about, for me, like I think about the hermit card, right? Having the lantern and going into the dark and following this spiritual path, going deep within ourselves into the underneath, into the subconscious, into the deep layers that we've suppressed that are not available easily, and bringing them to the light and showing them how they can harmonize with the other parts of our life, how we can take the lessons that we've learned, how we can incorporate them and integrate them into our lives so that we can stand up and be an example for others, for our children, for our daughters, right? For our sons, for our spouses, our partners, our best friends, our mothers, fathers, sisters and brothers, the coworker that you've worked with for 10 years. When we can integrate and step into full self-acceptance, it is a magical power, friends. It really is. And it goes into this like mantra, like what they're going to do is like their siren call, their mission, their war cry. It goes into, we're shattering the silence. We're rising, defiant, shouting in the quiet. You are not. That's what I'm doing here, guys. That's what this channel is about. And my daughter and my niece were able to remind me of why I'm making this content, why I'm showing up for you guys. Because it is silent. No one's talking about it. No one's talking about it. The is to go find a program or organization or fix all the symptoms. But that never changes anything. We have to get to the core issue, the root issue in our lives. And it's the subconscious patterns and beliefs that we have let shape us. I am shouting into the quiet, into the void of YouTube, into the lack of audience, into the lack of awareness in this space about this idea. And I am telling you, you are not alone. It's heavy, it's broken, it's jagged, it's slippery and dangerous, right? It can be scary, but you're not alone. Then it moves into this next line. We listen to the demons. We let them get between us. But none of us are out here on our own. Tonight, I listened to the demons. I let them come in. I let all that negative talk, the inner critic, come in and tell me that no one cared, that no one would show up, that no one was ready to do the work required from these messages. But then I realized that's not true. There's comments coming in saying, I needed this. There's comments coming in, wow, this is exactly the channel I want to see. Because there is no one doing this. This is a void where we can shout into it and claim what our new world is going to be, claim and create what our new reality is going to be. And the last line I want to share with you is my theme for why I'm showing up, for my mission, what I'm doing with you guys. And it says, so we're not heroes, right? No, we're not. We're people. We're imperfect. We're still survivors, though. We're still the adapters. We're still the ones who can change and morph and take on anything because we're able to adapt. But this is my invitation to you, this next line that I'm going to share from this song. But dive in the fire and I'll be right here by your side. Dive in the fire. You know, my group coaching is the Phoenix Framework. And it's all about the going in and crumbling into what we didn't accept about ourselves, crumbling into all of the lies we've told ourselves, crumbling in. You know, I'm seeing these pieces of wood burning, the embers that are burning, crumbling, right? As they burn down. And then the phoenix, what does the phoenix do? Rises from the ashes, rises from the void, from the darkness, from the subconscious, as we create this new life, as we create this new identity, as we create this new reality, and reclaim our lives, reclaim our sovereignty, reclaim our divinity, our godhood. So this song, guys, next level. I highly recommend checking out the movie Kpop Demon Hunters. All of the music throughout it has great messages. They're very beautiful. Golden is great and Free is great. So please check those out. Let me know in the comments if you watch it and what your thoughts about the movie were. And also how you felt about the few lyrics that I decided to share with you tonight. So before we start digging into the tarot, I am going to reference my notes because I want to ask specific questions. Sorry, guys, my face is very itchy right now. That's probably from crying. But the idea here is, I mentioned at the part of the song, this is what it sounds like. This is what it sounds like. This is what it sounds like when you fully accept yourself, when you have self-acceptance of your ADHD, self-acceptance of the parts of you that you've been ashamed of, parts of you that you've even been afraid of, maybe afraid that you would forget, afraid that you would lose your temper, afraid that you wouldn't be able to keep your life on track and keep your life in order. What does that sound like when we speak with our authentic selves, when we show up and allow that authentic self to lead, take the lead in the direction of our lives? So the 3 questions I'm going to ask are, let's see, what part of me is asking to be heard? What have we silenced, right? What have we silenced because of fear, because of doubt, because of shame? The next question, what is blocking me from integrating it? How are we going to reclaim our voice, our true voice? The voice that is a harmony, that is a blend, that's not one voice, but is the culmination of the darkness, of the light, of the gray, of the bright, right? Then the last question is, what will it sound like? What will it feel like whenever we do step into that self-acceptance and authenticity? How does integration come into play? Because we're not going to erase the hard parts. I've talked about this. We're not going to erase or forget or put them in the closet, shove them in a box in the attic. We're not doing that. They're going to have center stage on a shelf, full display, with the certificate that said, I taught you this. That's the harmony. That's what it sounds like when it's woven together. So those are the 3 questions. I'm going to leave this up, so I will be looking over here, so don't forget the questions. Before we begin, I do want to pull one animal oracle, or however many come out, but my goal is 1. Every time I try to give these archetypes a limit, then they just don't listen to me and decide to do whatever they want. So I want to actually dig into the tarot tonight for this, so I just wanted to kind of get 1 card to start us off before we get in this one. Thank you. All right, Armadillo Spirit, set healthy boundaries. And I was just talking about this a couple of days ago. If I can find the video, I will link it here. But what it's reminding me of tonight, that video was about healthy boundaries in your life. And there's a bunch of ways that can come out. That can come out with friends, that can come out with family, that can come out with work, right? But I mentioned in my personal life, I needed to have healthy boundaries with myself, with the way that I'm thinking. And that's what I feel like this is going to be about tonight. So I am going to start with the maiden archetype. In my tarot practice, I dedicate tarot decks to the spiritual archetypes that I work with. This first archetype is the maiden, an energy that's found within all of us. The energy of curiosity, the energy of play, joy, happiness, adventure, the energy of maybe a little bit of rebellion sometimes, maybe a little bit of obstinance, maybe a little bit of creative thinking, creative flow, right? So maiden, I have 3 questions tonight for this ADHD collective. What part of us is asking to be heard? What's blocking us from integrating it? And what will it sound or feel like once we have integrated this message? Please, maiden, this message of self-acceptance and sacred authenticity. Okay, that's the first one. What's blocking us from integrating it? That's the second one. And what will it sound or feel like, please? And that's that one. Thank you so much, maiden. So we got the 6 of Wands on the bottom of the deck. That's victory. And I actually had this thought the other day, and I'm glad it's coming out now because it makes sense. Everyone is excited about the 6 of Wands because it's the victory card, right? Celebration. Oh, look at this person. But what are they celebrating? They're celebrating somebody returning home from war triumphant. What does that mean? If we break that down, they just went through trials and tribulations. They just went through the darkness. They just went through shadow work, healing, integration, right? You don't get the victory card unless you put in the work. You don't get the victory card unless you've gone to war. I'm actually going to leave all these face down until the end, and then I'll reveal them. The next archetype that we are going to work with is the mother. And again, this archetype is within all of us. The ability to nurture, the ability to create, the ability to hold ourselves, responsibility, softness, creation, right? Creating and cultivating our lives the way we want them. Mother, can you please give us guidance tonight for this ADHD collective? What part of us is asking to be heard? Thank you. What's blocking us from integrating it, please? What's blocking us from integrating what needs to be heard, please? Thank you. And what will it sound or feel like once we do integrate it? Okay, thank you. And then the last spiritual archetype at the Four of Pentacles here. This is very grounded energy. I like to see that. I need that tonight. Thank you, Mother. And then the last spiritual archetype that we're going to work with is the crone. You know, keeper of ancient knowledge, the truth sayer, the lie slayer. You know, I think of the Queen of Swords when I think of this deck, when I think of this energy. You know, everyone calls her the cold queen, but she just has morals. She has clarity, right? She's not going to put up with the BS. So she cuts out the lies and carves the path that illuminates the truth, right? Cuts out the lies and illuminates the truth. The crone also is our intuition, our deep knowing, our connection to spirit. So crone, can you please give us guidance tonight for this ADHD collective? What part of us is asking to be heard for this self-acceptance in, okay. What's blocking us from integrating it, please? What's blocking us from integrating what needs to be heard? Please, crone. That one, okay. And what will it sound or feel like when we integrate this, please, crone? What will it sound or feel? Okay, that one. Oh. King of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck from the crone. Oh man, I just said we had grounded energy with the Four of Pentacles, but this is the King. There is no swaying the King. He is the giant oak. He is the forest of oaks. He's not just one. He is the forest. He's not just a person. He's I can't think of the word right now. But the idea of like something bigger than yourself. The king, right? He's the king. He's not just a person. He's the figure. He's the ideal. So let's go ahead and get into this reading. All right. So this first question, what part of me is asking to be heard? All right. The maiden gave us the Two of Pentacles. The mother gave us the Eight of Pentacles. And the crone gave us the Five of Swords. Wow. Well, that makes sense here. What's asking to be heard in our self-acceptance journey? With this set healthy boundaries that we got right off the bat. What's asking to be heard? I feel like we don't have these. That's really what's asking to be heard. And again, I do feel like this is with ourselves. This is with ourselves. The Two of Pentacles, you've been balancing your light and your dark. You've been trying to step into your authenticity, trying to step into, excuse me, trying to step into the fullness of who you are instead of shrinking from it, instead of hiding from it. But here, I just was given the image of like in our cars, we have belts on our cars. And here it looks like a belt. And it's almost like the belt keeps slipping. Like we're doing our best, but it slips. And so like our car's moving, it's like burr, burr, burr. And with the Eight of Pentacles, our soul's saying this is really hard work. We're trying. We're showing up. We're doing this work. We're trying to learn new tools to manage the symptoms of our ADHD. We're trying to not be ashamed of the fact that we may need additional support. We're trying to use our voices and not be afraid to speak. Remember, it's part of the song, we're shouting in the silence. You're not alone. You know, this is a journey of all of us as this collective, stepping into the truth that there's nothing wrong with us. Now, yes, I'm not saying that ADHD is a bed of roses. Like, I just was crying because how hard ADHD is, right? I get it. I get it, it's hard. But like I said, The way to live a fully fulfilled life with ADHD is not to try to put a Band-Aid on your symptoms. It's to get into the root, get into the core, get into your subconscious and understand that is what needs healing. That is what needs integration. And I feel like that's what we're doing here, right? We're showing up. We're trying to be creative here with our approach, creative with the way that we are accepting ourselves. Maybe you're taking some alternative methods for like alternative healing modalities. Have you tried Reiki? Have you tried quantum healing hypnosis therapy? Highly recommend if you haven't. I'm telling you, really great stuff. Maybe you've tried, maybe you've tried art therapy, right? Maybe you've journaled. But for me, I'm getting like there's some type of block. So you need a way to just get it out without thinking, without processing, just let it out. So if you haven't tried art therapy, I would highly recommend it. It would probably be very beneficial for you. And then what part of me is asking to be heard from the crone we got? The Five of Swords. This is the conflict. This is bitterness and disappointment of loss, of feeling injustice and not there's a winner but not fairly, right? Like the dissatisfied parties. So to me, that's saying that a part of you is dissatisfied with your healing, with the work you've done, with trying to integrate all of these different parts. You know, spiritual work is difficult. There's so many layers. There's so many layers. It goes so deep. And just when you think that you're like, oh, I'm healed, bam, there's another thing for you to work through. So maybe in this part of your expression, this part of accepting yourself, you're dissatisfied with this, what you've done. I mean, the Eight of Pentacles is diligence, guys. You guys have been showing up. You've been trying. And even though that belt keeps slipping, that's where you're dissatisfied, right? You're trying, but it's not making the progress you want. So what's blocking us from integrating this? From integrating this part of, you know, we're always our worst critic, guys. We always are. I'll link one of the videos from the series that talks about that. That was a very, very moving reading. Highly recommend. But what's blocking us from integrating this? The main gave us the Ten of Wands, the heaviness of this, the responsibility of this, right? This healing work, it takes a zap on our energy. So not only are we trying to balance the light and dark aspects of us, we're also trying to balance the energy cycles of being able to heal, being able to fully embody that healing, right? You know, it's one thing to say you're healed. It's another thing to walk it and live it and show up untriggered. To have the consciousness to step back and say, oh, wow, a comment like that before would have sent me reeling. I would have shut down and not talked to anybody. I would have thought my work was terrible. But now I can understand that what they said about my work is just their opinion or something that they feel like is a reflection in themselves. It has nothing to do with my work because I put my best on the table and I know it's great. And even if it's not, still, at the end of the day, understanding that the quality of my work doesn't determine the quality of me as a person, doesn't determine my level of worthiness. The Mother is inviting us with the Hermit. I was talking about this at the beginning, guys, right? The Hermit card. Well, first of all, the Hermit's not holding 10 wands. Oh, man. The Hermit is holding a lantern and a walking stick. Two tools. A light to guide and a stick for support. We talked about the grounded energy on the bottom of the deck here earlier with the Four of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. It's blocking me from integrating it is this lack of going in, of this lack of illumination and this lack of support. Support. Oh, guys. So that's why you keep going off. That's why the belt keeps popping, why it keeps falling off the vehicle. You don't have the support. Yeah, you're already doing this work. We talked about that with the Eight of Pentacles. You're diligent. You're doing this work, but you're dissatisfied with your progress because you don't have a community of like-minded women to talk about what you're dealing with, how you have no one else that understands what you're going through. And then the Crone gave us the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups is blocking us from integrating this. This feeling of nostalgia. This soul remembrance of a time when there was that support. You know, I talk about this, all of the answers to the universe we know deep within. We just have to do the hermit and go in and get it. Get still and get it. And it doesn't have to be physically still. I saw some members of the community talking about this on a post recently. Meditation is so beneficial, and I'm going to talk about it forever because it's changed my life so much. But it's not another tool for us to make ourselves feel bad about because we can't do it. Meditation, the benefit in it is stilling the mind. It's the inner stillness. And if you have the hyperactive part of ADHD, where you can't sit still, I have a friend with it, then meditation can be challenging because you can't sit still. You have too much energy, right? In that case, I would recommend doing a walking meditation, right? You can either listen to them. I know Dr. Joe Dispenza has some. I haven't tried them, so I can't vouch, but I know I've tried his other meditations and they're great. Or you can just go for a walk in nature and be the observer. Pretend you're a kid again and you're going on a science walk at school. Go out, look at the plants, take a sketch pad, try to draw them. Wouldn't that be interesting to make your own book of nature that from all your different nature walks? Because when we're doing that, we're changing the frequency of our brainwaves. We're changing that state that our brain is in. And that is what the purpose of meditation is, to change this up here, to get out of the logical side and get into the creative, the flowing side when we get into hyperfocus, right? It's the same wavelength. Another thing, and this is directly from my friend, so you can find this in different ways. I know personally, when we have bonfires, I love watching the flames, watching them dance, listening to them pop and snap and crack. It's mesmerizing. So any activity that you can do that can get you out of the logical thinking, analyzing type pattern up here is going to work well. As I was mentioning, my friend, she has a small pond with some fish, and it has a little waterfall in it. And she says she just sits there, and she can just sit there for hours watching the fish swim and the little patterns that they swim and listening to the waterfall. So you know you better than anyone in the world. What activity can activate that in your brain, can quiet your brain, and you can just zone in? And it doesn't have to be physically still, but just mentally still, mentally quiet, aware, and safe and safe and soft and soft. Oh, yes. Do you feel that, guys? I literally just had the biggest wave of peace fall over me when I was talking about that. But the whole purpose of that conversation was to tell you meditation is wonderful, but you should never feel bad if you can't do it. There are other ways to get your mind quiet. Okay? And the reason I bring that up is because with the Six of Cups, I was talking about soul remembrance. We all have that inner knowing, the crone energy, right? And the quieter we can get our minds and the more we can listen to our intuition and tap into our intuition, the more we'll be able to find this soul family, this soul community that can support us, that can be our walking stick through this integration phase, through this self acceptance, through this incorporating everything that we're doing. You're doing all this work, you need the support, right? Let us know in the comments, what support do you need right now? What are you working on? How can we support you? That's what we're here for. And then the last question, what will it sound or feel like when we fully integrate this work? Oh, the Temperance card. Balance, healing, alchemy, alchemizing those wounds, those emotional wounds. We have the groundedness and always right here, the foot in the ground and the foot in the water. One foot in this world, one foot with spirit, one foot in our conscious mind, one foot in our body and our feelings. You guys, spirit always shows up. 8 of Cups. What will it sound like? It'll be that peace. What will it feel like? It will feel like that peace that just came in. It'll sound like the quiet of confidence, the quiet of your knowing, the quiet of being, right? One of my favorite parts of meditation is just focusing on the I am, saying, I am, over and over again. I am, right? And a lot of Dr. Joe's meditations talk about the nothingness. But I knew that I was trying to rewire a mental pattern of lack. And so I didn't like that verb or that terminology. And so I decided to go more with everything because it is everything and nothing at the same time. But if I can focus on the everything, then that's going to help with my lack mentality that I was working on. So I would focus on just the vastness and how I am the vastness and the vastness of me and I am you and you are me because I am. I am and you are I am and I am. Does it make sense? Really? I don't know. But with the 8 of Cups, it's all about walking away from the pressure that you put on yourself, from this thought pattern, this feeling of the emotional feeling of dissatisfaction that we got with the 5 of Swords. Walking away from that past story and walking towards the reality that we're going to create, what we're going to be shouting into the void, what we're going to be shouting into the quiet. You are not alone. Guys, I couldn't have picked. I mean, obviously, I didn't do it because I specifically asked Spirit what this message was supposed to be about, and they gave me the song. And the song says, let me go find it again. We're shattering the silence, shouting in the quiet. You are not alone. I just said the Hermit card. The stick is his tool. It's his support. It's his community. 8 of Cups. We're walking away from that past life. We're walking away from that isolation. We're walking away from having to do everything alone. And we're pursuing that higher calling. We're pursuing that life of fulfillment, the life of joy, the life of the maiden, the mother, and the crone, the balance, the integration, right? All of those energies working together. I don't fight the energies here. Otherwise, this would have been a much more polished video. But tonight, that's not how my energy was. I wasn't feeling that way. And so it's the perfect demonstration of what this channel is about. It's not about perfect. It's about presence, being here, being you, The last card we got was from the crone, and it's this Eight of Swords. I feel like this is like our channel card. It comes out all the time. And it's always because we are our creators. We're the conscious creators of our lives. So what is it going to sound like? It's going to sound like slicing through. Can you hear the sound? Whoosh. Slicing through those lies, slicing through anything that comes up. Like tonight, when I had those limiting beliefs, when I had those lies, when I had imposter syndrome, and I let them come in. But I knew in myself that that wasn't the truth, that that was just a story and it wasn't my story and it wasn't the story. We are going to get to that place where we know, where we feel it, where we have this deep knowing, right? Where we have this deep knowing and we're diving into the fire, we're cutting out the lies and we're rising like the phoenix. We're rising from the ashes and we're not doing it alone. You're here, I'm here, we're all here together, and we're going to support each other. That's what this channel is for. So self-acceptance. You guys have been working on this, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you for putting in this Eight of Pentacles work, for being diligent, for taking it step by step, showing up, not giving up, even though with this Ten of Wands, it's been so heavy, so heavy. But our soul tribe is here, guys. The Six of Cups. Our souls remembering of each other. We're here to support each other. We're going to be the staff for the hermit. We're going to all be the flame in the lantern, in this illumination of where we're going with our lives. And we are going to have balance. We're going to have healing and integration with the Temperance, guys. Wow. Sending love and light to anyone that is open to receive it. Thank you, Maiden, Mother, and Crone, for your incredible words of wisdom, for your incredible story of celebration and acceptance of ourselves. May we shout into the silence. This is what it sounds like when we are whole. And thank you. Thank you for showing up here today, for sitting through this reading, because when you do that, you're showing up for yourself. You're feeding yourself, you're feeding your soul, and you're going to feed change in your life. So thank you. But I always love to end this way. And I want to remind you, in this channel, come as you are and stay as you become. Bye, my friends.